Another important sprinting muscle that I only mentioned briefly in my hip flexor series is the rectus femoris. So the rectus femoris is the long quad muscle that crosses the front of your hip. It's the only quad that acts as a hip flexor. This muscle experiences high stress during the swing phase of sprinting. In fact, if you've ever strained a quad while sprinting, this is the specific muscle that gets injured. Now, as an athlete gets faster and the legs move faster in the air, the stress on the rectus femoris is going to grow. And so you might expect then to be able to find a connection between the rectus femoris and speed. Here's a study that looked at muscle volumes. It compared sprinters and untrained men. As you would expect, it found the sprinters had higher muscle volumes in a lot of their thigh muscles. But then they also had the sprinters do a sprint and got a bunch of data at 35 meters of that sprint. So in this group of sprinters, the only muscle volume that correlated with their velocity at 35 meters was the rectus femoris volume. So there is indeed a connection between this muscle and speed, and that calls for some rectus femoris training. Now, because of its anatomical uniqueness from the rest of the quads, the rectus femoris is not well developed by typical quad exercises because it is not trained at length. In order to train at length, you can do hip flexion with a bent knee, which is what I talked about in my hip flexor series, or you can intentionally load the back leg on split squats.